Well, there's two kinds of people that grow orchids. There's the first one that just buys a big, beautiful plant, and while it's in bloom, they just enjoy it and they take care of it. Another type of person buys that plant, maybe in a smaller size as a seedling, and once they've achieved blooming it themselves, now all of a sudden they're hooked. And sometimes they have that glazed look in their eye, and you know this person's pretty much addicted to orchids. And I think it's because they are mysterious, they're unusual, they're beautiful, and there's so many different kinds and colors. There's up to 30,000 species of orchids and 145,000 hybrids. They come from every continent except Antarctica. So that means that there's more orchids than any other plant, and there's 32 species native to Missouri and Kansas. There's a judging center in St. Louis, and they meet 1 weekend a month, and you can submit your plants that are in bloom to being judged. If you get it awarded, then this plant you'd get a certificate, you get a photograph, and you get a bill for $36. Yeah, I don't like that part so good. But then I get to name the plant. So this plant, in this case, is called McKenna Bird, and that happens to be my niece. Anytime this plant would be used for breeding to create new hybrids or new colors, then that name would always carry through with that, all through the family tree. Just like somebody that raises dogs for dog shows, you know, it's the same kind of thing. Well, now we're getting to the point where I'm getting enough good plants that have been awarded. Now I can start my own breeding program and create even more hybrids with just the material that I've been able to grow and award myself. Well, part of my breeding program all stems back to Phragmipedium kovachii, which was first smuggled and discovered in Peru in 2001. Michael Kovac basically found this plant at a roadside stand. So a person was selling plants by the road, and they said, "You may be looking for something special, come back here with me." Well, the plant grows on the side of a limestone mountain where the water is continually running down the side of the mountain, giving the plant moisture at all times. And he brought it in the United States, and of course then once they identified it, it released the information to the world that there was this orchid with a purple flower that was this big, 6 to 7 inches across. Of course, the Peruvian government wanted it back. They wanted to name it Peruviana, but by then it was too late. So a group of orchid growers went down to Peru to help the local people grow the plant and produce it and propagate it so that it was available to the world. Well, my plant I actually purchased from a nursery in Ecuador and grew it about 3 years, and all of a sudden it came into bloom, and it was about 7 inches across. And I took it to an orchid show, and I got an FCC. That's the highest award given to an orchid. So I was ecstatic. I was thrilled. I thought this would never happen in my lifetime. So I was pretty excited. Well, of course, now you've got something that's so significant and such a new find that needs to be hybridized. So I self-pollinated it, and there's actually a seed pod on it right now. Once the pod starts to turn a little bit around, I try to pick it, harvest it the day before it opens, because once the seed pod opens and I missed it, it dispersed it in the wind, and that seed is gone forever. I will put the seed in a coffee filter, send it to the laboratory, and in 4 more years, we still have 7 years after that. 7 years, you come back and we can show you what we created on the day that we filmed this.